Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an investor trying to figure out what actually drives real, long-term compounding value in the industrial space, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're taking a structural look at the investment mode of CNH Industrial and its flagship brand, New Holland. We're going to look way past the heavy iron to really dig into the global reach, the data ecosystems, and the sustainability initiatives that make this company such a powerhouse. So, let's dive right in.
It's a completely serious question. What transforms Abe Zimmerman's one-man blacksmith shop, literally founded in a horse barn back in 1895, into a $19.8 billion global powerhouse today? To really grasp the magnitude of this investment thesis, we have to recognize up front that this isn't just a company that builds tractors. Not at all. It's a legacy of continuous adaptation that has compounded over 130 years into an absolute titan of global infrastructure.
Here's our quick game plan for today's explainer. We'll start with a century of innovation, then unpack the global footprint, look at the financial impact, dive into precision tech, and finally, wrap up with pioneering sustainable agriculture.
All right, Section 1, a century of innovation and how they built this incredible historical resilience.
Just charting this timeline reveals what is basically a masterclass in strategic growth. It starts, way back in 1895 with the founding of the New Holland Machine Company. Jump to 1940, they introduced the Model 73 automatic baler, which completely revolutionized hay harvesting at the time. In 1975, they dropped the twin-rotor combine, and get this, that technology was so successful, they're literally still utilizing and refining it today. Then come the big strategic leaps, like the massive merger with Ford Tractor Operations in 1986, which combined these immense dealer networks, and finally, the 1999 formation of CNH Global. For us as investors, this timeline proves a really vital point. This company doesn't just survive industry shifts, they engineer them.
Moving right along to Section 2, unpacking the global footprint. We're talking about scale as a major competitive advantage.
167. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the number of countries where CNH currently has a commercial presence. Think about the crazy logistics, the regulatory compliance, and just the hyper-localized market knowledge required to operate in 167 different nations. For some new competitor trying to enter the heavy machinery space, this number isn't just a fun piece of trivia, it is a virtually insurmountable barrier to entry.
And backing up that massive global presence is a truly staggering physical infrastructure. We're talking 37 manufacturing plants globally. They've got 56 distinct R&D centers dedicated to localizing and pushing innovation forward. They manage 30 global parts depots to make sure machines stay running during those absolutely critical harvest windows. And all of this is supported by a network of over 11,500 dealers and distributors. You literally cannot just replicate this network by throwing venture capital at it. This infrastructure is a deeply, deeply entrenched economic moat.
So how does all that footprint actually translate into revenue? Well, looking at their 2024 agriculture net sales by region, we see some phenomenal geographic diversification. North America brought in a solid $5.8 billion. The MEA region, that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa, generated $4.2 billion. South America added $2.2 billion, and Asia Pacific chipped in $1.6 billion. Why does this matter to an investor? Because if there's, say, a localized drought in South America or an economic downturn in Europe, the company is geographically insulated. They are totally protected from being dependent on just one single market's agricultural cycle.
Which brings us to Section 3, understanding the financial impact. Let's look at the results and the resilience.
Now, transparency is absolutely key when evaluating any investment. In 2024, consolidated revenues did dip to $19.8 billion, down from $24.6 billion in 2023. The source material is very clear about why. There was decreased industry demand and lower shipment volumes across basically all regions. Look, agriculture is a cyclical business, right? Droughts happen, demand shifts, but smart investors don't just panic at a top-line drop. Instead, we test the shock absorbers of the business model.
So where exactly are those shock absorbers? If we break down the 2024 revenue, agriculture is clearly the dominant engine here, bringing in $14 billion. Construction adds another $3 billion. But I want you to look really closely at financial services, $2.77 billion. Believe it or not, this segment actually saw revenue growth in 2024. By financing the sale and lease of equipment to dealers and customers, financial services provides this highly valuable, stabilizing, recurring revenue. It acts like an anchor for the company when equipment sales volumes temporarily contract.
And honestly, here's the most crucial financial takeaway of the whole explainer. 8.2. That is their adjusted EBIT margin percentage for industrial activities in 2024.
Even in a year with significantly lower industry demand and a 20% drop in overall revenue, they still maintained an 8.2% margin. How? Through improved purchasing, super strict manufacturing cost controls, and a reduction in administrative expenses. That right there proves incredible operational agility and serious pricing power.
All right, moving into Section 4, Precision Tech and Automation. Let's talk about the software and data ecosystem.
Because let's be real, the modern moat isn't just about hardware anymore. It's about software. Take a look at FieldOps. This is New Holland's all-in-one farm data management app. It literally pulls machine health and agronomic data together into a single platform. The crucial point for us as investors is this. CNH is no longer just selling a farmer a tractor. They are selling them into an integrated digital ecosystem. Once a farmer maps their entire operation and logs years of yield data into this specific system, their likelihood of suddenly switching to a competitor drops to near zero. It's high-value customer retention at its finest.
And the return on investment for the customer is undeniable. The company is projecting automation efficiency improvements of up to 30% by 2025. Think about that. In an industry that is actively battling severe labor shortages and razor-thin margins, a 30% efficiency gain isn't just some luxury feature. It is an absolute economic necessity for the farmer, and obviously a massive selling point for CNH.
So how are they actually delivering those gains? Well, they recently won the 2024 EMA Technical Innovation Award for their LiDAR guidance system, which, by the way, allows for GPS-free precision farming, which is huge. Add in features like IntelliTurn automatic steering, OptiSpread automation, and the autonomous farming solutions they brought in through their really smart acquisition of the Raven brand. They aren't just talking about the future, they are actively solving the agriculture industry's biggest bottlenecks today through award-winning tech.
And that brings us to Section 5, Pioneering Sustainable Agriculture. For an investor, this isn't just about good PR or looking green for the cameras. This is literally about future-proofing the industry and creating entirely new economic models.
Check this out. This outlines what New Holland calls the energy-independent farm. It's a literal circular economy. Step 1, you collect animal and food waste directly on the farm. Step 2, process it in a biodigester. Step 3, capture the resulting biomethane. Actually, quick aside, CNH has a controlling stake in a company called Bennamann that develops the exact tech to capture these fugitive emissions. And then step 4, you use that captured methane to fuel the tractor. You are literally turning a farm liability, waste, into a self-sustaining power source. It's brilliant.
Now let's compare the actual metrics here. With standard diesel, you've got your traditional, everyday operating costs and emissions. But with New Holland's methane power, you get 80% lower overall emissions, a massive 98% reduction in particulate matter, and a 10 to 15% CO2 reduction when using farm biogas. As global environmental regulations inevitably get tighter and tighter over the next decade, owning the equipment that inherently solves the compliance problem offers a massive, unshakable competitive edge.
I love this quote from the company's vision. It says, "Farmers are meant to be able to generate their own energy to run their farm and agricultural equipment." Severing a farmer's total dependence on wildly fluctuating fossil fuel prices, that is a completely disruptive value proposition. It literally changes the fundamental economics of running a modern farm.
And the best part, this isn't just theoretical. Back in 2022, they revealed the T7 Methane Power LNG prototype. It's the world's first 100% methane-fueled tractor, which, no surprise, recently won a silver medal for innovation. They are taking this high-level sustainable vision and turning it into field-ready reality. They are actually executing on the hardware.
So, let's bring it all together. With 130 years of compounded innovation, an impenetrable global footprint of over 11,000 dealers, proven financial resilience during down cycles, an incredibly sticky data ecosystem, and field-ready sustainable tech, as agriculture faces its greatest climate and efficiency challenges, is there any company out there better positioned to harvest the future? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this deep dive gave you a crystal clear understanding of the massive investment moat surrounding this global powerhouse. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next one.